just to kill some wolves.
Which one?
And move to the battlefield. Neutrophils are intense suicide warriors that only live to kill.
Yes.
They're so enthusiastic about killing that they kill themselves a few days after birth so they don't have time to accidentally destroy your body from the inside. As soon as neutrophils arrive, they begin vomiting deadly chemicals. They are so careless in their attacks that they are causing real damage to your own cells. But collateral damage is not their concern now. Or ever. Some neutrophils go so far to push their suicide button and explode, casting wide and toxic nets made from their own DNA, filled with deadly chemicals that trap and kill bacteria. Sometimes they can continue fighting after that, even though they're sort of dead already. This is how much fun they have killing. While the battle rages, your blood vessels let fluid stream into the battlefield like a dam opening up towards a valley. You notice this as inflammation. Your thumb swells up a little and gets red and warm. The fluid brings a silent killer into the battle zone, millions of complement proteins. A sort of automated liquid weapon that stuns and kills bacteria by ripping holes into them. We made a whole video explaining them in detail. Crossroad now. If things go well, your first line of defense kills the invaders quickly. But sometimes the enemies are too strong and would overwhelm your defenses eventually, which means certain death for you, the human. This is the hour of the dendritic cell, your immune system's intelligence officer. While your soldiers were bashing your heads, it was collecting samples by ripping bacteria into...
Yeah, it's collecting samples so that next time that happens, it will learn. That cell collects samples of the bacteria. So next,
what kind of cell is that?
like a memory B cell or a memory T cell. Those cells they get the bacteria and take samples like a scientist.
Information.
Yeah, like a scientist checking in a microscope. Those ones they keep the samples in them. And then they just take some of the bacteria, they rip it apart, and then they just technically like a scientist with a microscope trying to discover stuff. So they discover and then next time that thing comes, they remember how to beat it. So sometimes you won't even feel it because those will just boom.
to tiny parts and covering itself in it. Like a soldier decorating itself in the guts of a dead enemy. The cell leaves the battlefield and enters the superhighway of your immune system that connects all your tissues with your immune headquarters, your lymph nodes. The dendritic cell coming from the battlefield is looking for a helper T cell, which is a sort of all-purpose commander cell within your immune army. But not any helper T cell, one that happens to have just the right weapon for the bacteria that infected your wound. So it goes around and rubs itself, still covered in bacteria parts, against every helper T cell it meets. Most T cells are a bit disgusted and not interested, but after a few hours, something clicks. A helper T cell recognizes the bacteria parts. This cell is the weapon that's needed right now. The dendritic cell is overjoyed and activates the helper T cell. Okay, wait. How come your immune system has a cell that has a weapon against the specific bacteria that infected you? Well, your immune system has a perfect weapon against every possible disease in the universe. Okay.
What? You mean before coronavirus even started, you have to beat... Actually, no. Actually, yeah. And you have to beat coronavirus already? Wow.
It's the Black Death, a coronavirus, or an infection that will emerge in 100 years on Mars. We'll talk about this a bit more in the next video because it's very complex. So for now, just know that you have billions of unique helper T cells